Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Greg Kampe Show. We're live at the Oakland University Golf Facility on the campus of Oakland University. He is a coach, Greg Kampe. My name is Neil Rule. As always, the Greg Kampe Show brought to you by Henry Ford Sports Medicine. Camp, what's going on, man? We can see the ground again for the first time in forever.
And I saw the putting green when I drove in.
You fired up, yeah. It's getting warm, and it's getting to be that time, Camp.
Yeah, it's March basketball tournament time. The weather, the winter coat comes off, and you're walking. You're mad at your players because they're outside in shorts, and you're worried they're going to get sick, and because 45 degrees feels like 80 degrees, right? And so, but it reeks of March and reeks of tournament time basketball, and we're only a couple weeks away from that. So, put a lot of time and effort into this year, and now we're almost there.
No, absolutely. A big weekend of basketball obviously coming up with some games coming up at the O Arena. A couple of things here in the crowd. Did want to give a shout out, and you just did for the crowd here, but did want to give a shout out to Gary Gilbert, who is retiring the chair of the Oakland University Journalism Department. And I got my degree. Gary was my professor way back in the college days as well. So just wanted to give you congratulations, Gary.
He teaches the class now that I can say this. I started the class. I don't know. Do you know that, Gary? All right. So here's the true story. We went Division I, and so all of a sudden now we're playing Division I basketball games, and we have Division I press conferences. And they sent the student newspaper to Cincinnati. And I don't remember the question the guy asked Huggins, but Huggins just tore this kid's in the press room after the game. And when I got back from it, I called James Briggs Bunny, who was running the department at the time. And I said, look, if we're going to be a Division I basketball team and you're going to have sports class, you're going to have sports writers on the newspaper, you need to have a sports class. And she said, and I told her what happened, and she said, okay, we're going to do that. And I said, good, we need to do that. The next day, I got a phone call back from her, and she says, well, since you're a journalism major and you're the only one here that really understands it, you're going to teach it for us, right? And I did. I taught it for 2 years. Got every one of my players in it. They got good grades. Ron Marshall was eligible. And it's funny, Gary, the final in the class was when I was in one of my first couple of years of coaching, late in the game, Wallace Davis got fouled, and I sent Scott Bittinger to the free throw line. Now, if you knew who Wallace Davis and Scott Bittinger were, you know they don't look a lot alike. Okay? And the referees let Bittinger, an 85, 90% free throw shooter, shoot him to win the game. And Wallace was about a 35% free throw shooter. And my boss came in afterwards and said that the Wayne State coach said that I did that on purpose and I cheated. And he said, you didn't do that, did you? And I go, do what? And he goes, well, they did this. And the next day they wrote a big article in the paper. I forget who the reporter was. And it didn't even talk about Oakland winning this rivalry game. It talked about how I sent the wrong guy to the free throw line. And my answer to my boss is I followed the rules. The rules say that if somebody goes to the free throw line and shoots a free throw when he's not supposed to, that's a technical foul. And I said, so that's on the officiating, just like I don't get to call the fouls, right? So that was my response to that. So my final in the class was I had that same scenario come up, and then I had two people come in, and one was Kampe, the coach, and the other one was the Wayne State coach, and that the players had to interview those two guys and then write a story on it. So I used real life in that class, and I didn't get fired over it. But I've never done it since. But I was 29 years old at the time, and all I cared about was winning.
Well, you've been very generous in allowing me to bring my students to your post-game press conference for years. But I can tell you, I can do my very best to prepare them. But when their hands go up, I have no idea what might come out of their mouths.
I noticed that the other night.
Yeah.
But I handled it okay, right? I told him, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely. But congratulations, Gary. A very, very good career. Very, very good career. So shout out to him.
And a really good man.
Really good man.
Yep.
Sneaky good golfer, too. Absolutely. Sneaky good, Camp.
Yeah.
Yep. That's my guy. Also, too, we set a record here today at this Greg Kampe show, and not a ratings record. We set those every single week. It's the highest-rated show on this station at this time, as you like to say. But Anthony and Vicky Galena are here. Their daughter has become the youngest person on record to ever take in the Greg Kampe show. So there we go. We set a new record for that as well. Camp, we're reaching all the key demographics. We are an advertiser's dream.
Does she have a question?
She likes that pita bread. I know that. Yeah. She eat the pita bread for sure.
Why did I challenge that call at the 1 second into the second half? No, somebody's asking that because I know every one of you. That's what the hell is he doing?
We'll get to the Ask Campy section a little bit later of the show. All right, Camp. Let's get into it though. Certainly a disappointing week. Last week, culminating with the loss at Robert Morris on Sunday, dropping that close game at the arena against Youngstown State. And Camp, just kind of take us through this last week Oakland basketball.
Well, I thought that when Isaac went down, I thought that our team really came together, and I did not think, I thought if we were going to lose any of these coming up games, it would be Fort Wayne, who was challenging us for second place at the time, and a game out of first. We were a game out of first, and we went to Fort Wayne and won. And I thought we felt really good about ourselves. And then we had Northern Kentucky come in here, and we won. Now we also got a break in that Wells didn't play for them, and so we won 2 of those games, and I felt really good about it. And we're up 10 or 12 points at Cleveland State in the second half, and that's when it all kind of fell apart. And I think that this week, it just kind of exploded on us. And, you search, as you do as fans, we as coaches, we search for it. We analytically, we have our own personal feelings. We analytically look at it. We get mad at players. Players get mad at us, because we're frustrated that it happened. And we did not play well. We did not guard well. We did not rebound well. And at the clutch times, in clutch plays, first in the Youngstown game, we didn't make the plays. And as a coach, I tell them all the time, players make plays, right? And they got to make those plays. We didn't make them. But I also look at it, and maybe I didn't do a good job of putting them in the right position to make the plays either. So there's a lot of blame to go around. What we can't do is you can't make excuses. And we have no excuse for either of those losses, any 3 of them. There's no excuse for it. So we have to look at it. We have to be smart about it. We have to analyze it. If I got to make some changes, I got to make changes. If the players have to do something different, they got to do it. But collectively, it's a you talk yourselves through it. We've had a lot of talks in the last couple of weeks. Probably too many. Sometimes I talk too much. And I walked off the court practice today and I felt like I can't say anymore. I've said as much as I can say. We just got to play the game Friday. But I feel good about us. We got really good kids. We haven't been tough enough the last couple of weeks. But step back and look at it, man. We played the Youngstown game with collectively 6 people. Now, could Coy have played more? Yes, Coy could have played more. But, if you'd have seen him close up, you would have told him, go home, go to bed, right? His mouth looked just terrible. And he had 4 stitches in it. And, if he gets hit and it breaks open, he might be out for 2 or 3 weeks, and then we're in real trouble. And that is not an excuse. From a distance looking at it, you can say that was a bad decision on my part. I should have just played him. And you might be right, But like I told them, we cannot change what has happened, but we can learn from it and get better. We did talk today, and we talked at the beginning of the year about this. When you start league play, at a certain time, you step back and you look at where you're at. And with 4 hurdles to go, we stepped back today and looked at where we're at. And the conclusion that we came out of it is that we're in a position to be a top 2 seed, which is what you want. And you go win 4 games, you're going to be, at worst, you're going to be as the 2nd seed. Most likely, even if you win 4 games, you'll be the 2nd seed, because if we tie for first with Wright State, they'll be the 1st seed because they beat us twice. But we're still, you got a chance to get a piece of the championship possibly if you win 4 games, and you're a top 2 seed. So it's all on us. And the whole thing at the beginning of this was you want to be a top 3 seed. If you're a top 3 seed, you get a home game. You get a bye in Indianapolis. So we're right there. It's no matter what's happened, we're right there. And as you step back and look at it, couldn't ask for anything else. But as I told them, it's on you now. Let's go do it.
And, yeah, that is the moral of the story right there. You still control your fate in that respect, right? And there's a big, big log jam right behind you guys. But the key is, as of right now, that is behind Oakland. That's not in front or tied or anything like that.
Right. I mean, it's on us. It's on us. What we really have to do, and it's hard to do this with the media, it's hard to do it with social media, it's hard to do it with fans, is we really, as a group collectively, the 23 people or 21 people that are in our bubble, is the only thing we can worry about is trying to win Friday night. And that's what we are trying to, I have to speak publicly, so I have to talk like this, but the truth of the matter is the only thing we control is us, and we have to forget everything else and play our best game Friday night and be 1 point ahead when it's over. And if we do that, the feeling around us, the feeling around everybody will be way better than it is right now.
Camp, what about that? How do you decide that, where you say, okay, there's nothing more that needs to be said? Is that a vibe that you get from the guys? Is that what experience has taught you? How do you come to that conclusion?
Well, I mean, I got into the office this morning with this idea that I was going to do this, and it was going to take 3 minutes. And I ran into Smitty, we talked. He said some things that made me think, which made me think more. So when I think more, I speak more. And so when the team gathered up, my 3 to 5 minutes that I wanted to talk to them about, when I turned around and walked away and they went to stretch and start practice, was about 16 minutes. And I think they've had enough of me. I mean, I've said what I had to say, and I think they've had enough. Now we got to go. And I painted it as I just painted it to you. That's how I painted it. I added a few things privately among us, but no emotion, no anger, no, this is where we're at. And I did mention to him that nobody's going to remember that Robert Morris game if we win the championship. Not one person's going to. I said to him, do you think Robert Morris was thinking about how they felt when they walked out of the arena in January when we beat them by the same amount that they just beat us, right? I don't think any Robert Morris fans are even talking about that. Just like we go win the tournament, nobody's going to remember this night. And the tournament's ahead of us, so let's go play. Let's go win it.
Camp, we talk about this sometimes when we're on the road, the roller coaster within a season. It seems to be like it's there's 2 places you can be. You can be like, we're back, here we go, or it's over, and everything in between. You know what I'm saying? Like you get those vibes and those peaks and those valleys and everything that happens within the season. And I know, like, you guys are the coaches and you're supposed to, you mind the ship and you keep an even keel and all that kind of stuff. But, even inside camp, do you ride that roller coaster too, you guys as coaches?
Oh yeah. I mean, everybody does. You do that in life. There was a night in the last week that I woke up at 2:00 in the morning, and I couldn't go back to sleep because all I could see was the ball getting hit out of Chris Conway's hand, and we lost North Carolina State. We could have been in the Sweet 16. Those memories will never leave, and I would say 3 times a month that happens to me. And I don't think Jeff Smith's here.
Yes.
If he doesn't wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, upset over, whatever part he has in this, upset over, let's say, Jeff has a lot to do with what we do. And
which we'll talk about in a couple minutes, yeah.
And if he doesn't wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and not be able to go back to sleep because of a decision he made that didn't work, and it's not, you're mad at yourself. You just want to be better, And 90% of the times those decisions you make, you would remake them the exact same way. It just didn't work out. But you carry that with you, and I would think it's like everybody else in here. I think you have, whatever you're passionate about, your work, your life, you do the same thing. And this is our life, this is our job, but it's more than a job. It's because it's a game, right? I get it. My job is a game, and there's a scoreboard, and so you carry that with you, and there's ups and downs, and look at our press conferences. Look at any coach's press conferences, right? I mean, you got some really guys going nuts this year in press conferences across the country. A guy just lost his job because of a press conference at a Power 5 school. Just lost his job because he emotionally exploded after. But Gary had his students at the one the other day. It was probably better for them that we lost because they got to see that side of it instead of a happy, oh, yeah, we get there, hey, yeah, we love each other, we this, yeah, we play, And the great questions when everybody's happy and loving. No, nobody was happy that night. And they got the experience of that. It's the ups and downs of life. And, our team is just a microcosm of that.
If you want to get involved with the show, you can on X, Twitter, whatever you call it. Just use the hashtag AskCampe. I will be reading those a little bit later on in the show. There's a question for Jeff Smith here in the Ask Campe thread, so we will get that to Smitty as well. And big props to Bobby Ellman back in our Odyssey studios as always. So let's do this. We will take our first break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Associate Head Coach Jeff Smith. You're listening to the Greg Kampe Show. We're live at Patti Finnegan's here on the campus of Oakland University.
In every moment, in every shared smile, OU Credit Union Visa Signature Card is there, earning 3% cash back on groceries to stock their dorm room, 2% back on fueling up the tank for the journey ahead. With a $100 welcome offer and the first year's annual fee waived, it's more than just a card. It's your partner in making every moment count, even the ones that tug at your heartstrings. Make every moment and every mile more rewarding with an OU Credit Union Visa Signature Card.
Because every athlete deserves to be treated like a pro. Henry Ford Sports Medicine.
Patti Finnegan's here on the campus of Oakland University. It is the Greg Kampe Show. My name is Neil Rule, the voice of the Golden Grizzlies. Right now, as promised, we're joined by a man that you hear every single radio broadcast in the pregame show. Of course, that is Associate Head Coach Jeff Smith. Smitty, appreciate you stopping by, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah,
good to be here.
It's good to have you here, my friend. I know we do this a lot, so this will be easy for us.
Yeah, and I think to kind of piggyback off what you said earlier, we have the highest rated pregame show of Oakland basketball, right?
We do. At that time on that station, there is none higher. No, you're absolutely right. The people clamor for it. There is no doubt. But yeah, Smitty, I guess, and we do have some Ask Smitty questions, which we'll get to in just a couple of minutes. But I got to start. I mean, Camp kind of brought it up. What wakes you up at 2 o'clock in the morning, Smitty?
Honestly, usually it's one of the two dogs that's in bed with us that has to get up and go out. But, it's part of what we do. And over time, I've really tried to do a better job of, especially when it's time to go, like, shut it down, to try to shut it down. But there's some days you just can't. I mean, my wife was here with us tonight at the radio show. This is date night for us doing this. So hope you enjoy your water, dear. There's nights where she'll wake up and roll over. It'll be 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm wide awake staring at the ceiling. And I don't think you can do what we do and have the commitment and put the time into it. And I'm not saying other professions aren't that way. I don't know. I've only done this. But there are things that happen that you relive and you go over and over and over again, and they drive you crazy. Now, one thing I have learned to do, and I don't know that I'll ever be able to do it when I become the head coach, but I do know that when we win or lose, I do a way better job of turning the page and moving on to the next thing. Probably used to celebrate too much when we won, wherever I was, and probably used to hold on to it too long when we lost. I tell people I don't have that luxury anymore. I've got too much on my plate to let things linger, because if I dwell on what's been done, then I'm not focused on us moving forward. And so, better at it, but there are certainly some nights where you're just it haunts you. And you can relive it, but you got to do the best you can to move on.
Smitty, you kind of, I guess, head up recruiting in that you're the one on the road all the time. Yeah. You're the one racking up the miles and the hotel points and all that stuff.
Need every one of them, man. We got 2 club volleyball daughters. We need every one of those miles and points.
Yeah, absolutely. But it just as we've shifted through, and you and I have talked about this on air. We've talked about it, privately in airports and stuff like that. Camp's touched on it. The changing state of recruiting and talent acquisition. I mean, that's what this job is. It's talent acquisition. Camp tells us this all the time, that you give me good players and we'll have a good team. That's the way that it works. How have you assimilated? Because this is moving so quickly, Smitty. I mean, even guys like you that have been around for a long time, and you've done it at every level, the highest levels in America. How quickly this whole landscape is shifting. I mean, from month to month, Smitty. How do you navigate it?
It's constantly in a state of change. And so I think, from an assistant standpoint, I have to recognize that regardless of how the landscape changes and regardless of what happens in court cases and eligibility issues and all of those types of things, there are a couple things that are really, really important for me. Number one, I know what Camp wants. And I know what that is supposed to look like. So then my job is, it's got to fit the profile. For example, the guy we signed in the fall from the College of Southern Idaho, Nate Honor, who just, his team, I think CSI now, they're ranked either 2 or 3 in the country. And they're less than if something crazy happens, they're going to go to Hutch and make a run at the national championship. And, he was just named the Player of the Week for the 3rd time. And when I saw him a year ago, and then when I saw him again in the fall, he fits the profile of what we want. He's a 6'6", Division I body ready player who can do everything. He averaged last week 17 points, 8.5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. And in the zone, you need versatility and you need length. And he can shoot it, he can pass it, and he can rebound. And so that we've got to have a plethora of those guys, because that's what makes the zone good. Trying to find a point guard like Brody Robinson, and people, don't always know, but I actually started recruiting Brody when he was a junior in high school. Mm-hmm. That's the first time I ever saw him and had a relationship with him, because of his dad being from Lansing and people that we knew. And then, but you also know that certain times, like Brody would come here as a freshman, no one would know who he is because he wasn't ready. He would have left and never come back. And so that's the other thing in this deal now, especially with the portal and the rules that the way they are with the transfers, is you have to play the long game with so many of these guys.
And keep a relationship.
No question. And you recruit them, but maybe you're not recruiting them to get them. Maybe you're recruiting them to put them in junior college. Maybe you're recruiting them, not right now, but when they leave and it's time and they're ready, you have those pre-existing relationships. And fishing in, you got to know how to fish in the right ponds. Like, not every junior college kid that averages 20 points a game is going to come here and be successful. There are programs that we recruit, and they are programs that have a quality head coach, B, they play in a region where they're going to play against great competition, and then C, obviously they have to fit the profile of what we want. at the end of the day, this is still a relationship business. And when you're recruiting, it has to be about what is the right fit. Building a roster today is very, very difficult. And sometimes people are in a real hurry to make decisions on it. And that is one of the toughest things to have to be able to do is you have to be patient. And when you make your decisions, the portal has sped so much stuff up that at times it's like speed dating. And you're just taking the first one that you get at the dance, and sometimes they might look good, but then
they're not good dancers.
No, they're not good dancers, and they're not good teammates, and they're not. So you still have to have the patience and do the work, and building that list out. Like if you walk in my office right now, there's about 25 names on the board of portal potential guys. I don't know if they're going in now. Some of them I do because what has changed. Because the rules are the way in which they are, there literally is no more tampering. Short of me calling the player or his parents, that's tampering. These guys all have agents. I was on the phone with 3 agents last week driving from Salt Lake to Twin Falls, Idaho. And if anybody's ever made that drive, you know that that's 3 hours of, it's beautiful, but you don't see another car sometimes. And there's agents that are talking about players that they represent and asking me if we'd be interested. I'm like, he's going in, oh yeah, he's going in the portal. I mean, we still got 6 games to go.
Right.
And these kids are, their agents are already starting to line up situations for them. I talked to a guy today. He said, hey, here's the plan. Obviously, the portal can't open until April. He's going to get through the season. We will announce as an agency he's going in the portal, and then we'll work with you on where you're at with it. That's what's changed. And so the relationships that used to be just with the head coaches at a junior college or high school or an AAU coach, now so much of it is agent-based. So you better have a relationship with those agents. And then when you get their guys, you better take care of their guys. Now, it doesn't mean they have to play, but you better take care of them, because getting cut off by those guys now is way worse than what it was if a high school coach or an AAU coach shut you out.
And that's, I would imagine, Smitty, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that's an angle of power that's an addition now to everything that you've had to deal with him before, because agents wield power. Now they do.
And the money that's involved in this deal, and the trying to see through where things are, because people will use you to try to ratchet up a negotiation with somebody else. And people always say it's like the NBA. It's not. I mean, there's no collective bargaining. There's no salary cap. There's no transparency. I mean, if the Pistons want to offer somebody, there's an offer sheet that you and the entire world knows about, and you talk about it on your radio show. Is this guy worth $27 million a year? Well, no one knows. Like we were like, I don't know if somebody else has really offered that kid the money that they're saying. And so you're trying to sift through a lot of information, and as you said, it's constantly moving. But again, it comes down to relationships. Comes down to evaluating players that fit what Coach Kampe wants here in this program. One thing I'll say about this group, I mean, and the effort that went into putting this team together by me, Bobby, and Trey specifically as assistant coaches, and the efforts that went into it, like Coach getting the money to be able to, I mean, we put together, wherever this thing goes, this group of guys have been unbelievable to coach. I mean, they're great. I love them. I love being around them every day. My wife and I, we have them at the house for Thanksgiving. We had them at the house for the national championship game. And I told her of all the years, and we've had some great ones. This group is as good of a group of dudes to have in our home as anything. And that's what this is all about.
We got a couple questions here for you, Smitty. If you're watching on the YouTube stream as well, you can jump in on there, get some thoughts, get some questions. Real quick one, though, Smitty. How many airline miles do you have? I've always wondered about this.
I showed where I was sitting somewhere at dinner the other night, and somebody asked me that same question, and so I pulled up my Delta app, and next year I should cross the 1 million miles flown with Delta, and that is since 2004. So in 22 years, I'm almost at 1 million miles.
So they're going to make a movie about you. George Clooney's going to play Smitty, that's.
I don't think it'll be George Clooney. I want to ruin the guy's career if they see that. But no, it's a lot, and it's like anything else. It's an investment. We spend a lot of money to try to put teams together, not just in what we pay, but it's so important that we try to get the right people here. People Coach can coach, people that can do the things he wants to do from a coaching perspective, and understand we play a tremendously complex and difficult defense. And offensively, he's shrinking the play package down, but I just looked at what Wiz said to us. I mean, there are programs in the country that won't run half of what's on that sheet, and it's a small number for us. But you have to be someone that can do a lot of different things, but most importantly, you got to be a good human being. And not that every guy we bring in here is always – we're not going to bat 1,000, from a talent standpoint or from a character standpoint. But we're going to – if we don't, it won't be because there was a lack of effort or a lack of research or a lack of time put into putting this team together.
All right, Smitty, let's knock a couple of these out here before you can resume your date night over there. Yeah, absolutely.
The water's getting warm.
It is. Giovanni Moshiri, hashtag Ask Kampe, Ask Smitty. Against Youngstown, I noticed on the court and into a timeout that there was some frustration between Coach Kampe and Zaire. You seem to step in and calm things down in the huddle. How often do you have to be the good cop to Kampe's bad cop or vice versa?
Yeah, I think that's part of any staff, but certainly – I think, one thing that people have said to me over the last few years, they're like, wow, you are so much more calm on the bench during games. And my response is, do you see our bench? You got Bobby is jumping around. He's going crazy.
Guy,
you got Wiz going crazy. And coach is coach. And so that's just part of our job. There's always that give and take. But there are times where, the roles get reversed, and I'll go after guys, and then he calms everybody. That's what we do. And, I've worked for guys that it's scripted. Hey, today you're a bad cop. Today I'm good cop. But for us, it's just more organic. And, part of it is the knowing the players. And Zaire, who right now is in an unbelievable place, he is putting in more time now than he ever has since he's been here. He's in the morning getting up extra shots. He's watching extra film, coming back in the afternoon getting up shots. So, you learn who these guys are and try to figure out what buttons to push. And as we talked about, when you only have them here for 8 months, trying to get them to be connected and then really understand who they are, it takes a lot of time. There's a lot of conversations that happen away from that practice facility, a lot of conversations that happen at night that happen in person. Yesterday in the OC, I sat there with 3 guys for about an hour and 15 minutes just chopping it up, just talking. And so you get to know them and you figure out who they are, and you try to figure out a way that you can help. Because, again, this is about winning a game, and it's about helping these guys. But in those moments, somebody has to be the one that be able to separate that and figure it out.
Last one here from Robert Noiva on YouTube. Says, question for Smitty. When you're recruiting, how do you judge whether the student-athlete is a good guy, a team player, is tough, will listen to feedback, will keep up with the rigors of a tough season? How do you determine that?
Yeah, that's part of the research that goes into this. There's a lot of, and again, especially with these junior colleges, what we've got are our relationships with people, and you rely on the information you get from the head coach. And when you're friends with these guys and you really know them, they too are staking their reputation. And so when we recruit Nate Honor, and the first thing I asked Jeff Reinert, who's the head coach there, hey, tell me about him as a person. And when you hear those things from someone, because Jeff doesn't want to sell a guy. Because we're friends, we have a relationship. Now, some dude I don't know, he's like, "Hey, take him. I got to get him scholarship." So they'll say whatever. So for us, it's doing the research, asking questions of the people around him. We will call their prep school coaches, their high school coaches, their AAU coaches if we know them. And in the portal, you're trying to do it in a quick. It's quick.
Yep.
But you have to do the best job you can to get as much information, and then you work your way through. You sift it down. And then everything shakes out at the bottom. Right now, it's just accumulating names in the portal, the potential portal list. And then we'll start putting together video edits on those guys. And then as we get closer, then it's starting to have conversations. And so it's like a big funnel. And then at the end, the best things fall out, and hopefully that's what your roster looks like.
Smitty, as always, man, and I'm thankful for what you do with the pregame show, and you understand, how this all works, and
thanks, man.
You help me out a lot, man. So thank you.
I love it. Appreciate it, man.
Jeff Smith, everybody. We'll be back with the Ask Kampe portion of the program. We're live at Patti Finnegan's. This is the Greg Kampe Show.
In every moment, in every shared smile, OU Credit Union Visa Signature Card is there, earning 3% cash back on groceries to stock their dorm room, 2% back on fueling up the tank for the journey ahead. With a $100 welcome offer and the first year's annual fee waived, it's more than just a card. It's your partner in making every moment count, even the ones that tug at your heartstrings. Make every moment and every mile more rewarding with an OU Credit Union Visa Signature Card.
Because every athlete deserves to be treated like a pro. Henry Ford Sports Medicine.
Patti Finnegan's here in the Greg Kampe Show. My name is Neil Ruler, voice of the Golden Grizzlies. He is a coach, Greg Kampe, another packed crowd here at Patti Finnegan's. Great to have everybody out here. As always, Camp, you ready for the Ask Kampe portion of the program? All right, let's get into it. Klaus, who is here, as a matter of fact. When will you start?
Without a diet Dr. Pepper.
Without a diet Dr. Pepper. He asked you, Camp, when will you start hitting golf balls?
Klaus, this is the first winter in my coaching career that I have not hit a golf ball. No, I mean, I don't. I can go where I'm a member. They have simulators. I can go there any day and hit. And I don't feel I'm doing a good enough job, and I don't deserve to have that pleasure right now. After we win the tournament, I'll probably the day before Selection Sunday, I'll do that. But right now, I'm not going to do that until we're better.
Our guy Gary Gilbert on Twitter X. Camp, with the 2024 team, you had coached many of the players for multiple seasons. Trey, Chris, Blake. They knew what it would take to win the Horizon League. This starting lineup is 80% new. Have you changed the way you coach?
I think that would have been a better question for Jeff. He made a comment about the playbook, being shrunk. I mean, yeah, we're trying to figure it out. I know I called a play late in that Robert Morris game before all the crap hit, and we didn't run it, and that really upset me. And so instead of taking it out on them, we're going to shrink the playbook, and we're going to do something we've never done before. We're going to give them what our weekend playbook is. We're going to give it to the players, and I'm not going to use the 90 plays we have. We're only going to use those plays in this game. Now, if there's one that I know will work, I will call a timeout, and we will draw it up and walk them through it. But for the most part, on the run, there's only going to be a certain set of plays that we call. And, so that's changing, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I think that would have to be answered by somebody else. I'm just trying to do the best I can.
Pittsburgh Marty, Camp, it was great seeing you at Robert Morris on Sunday. Been trying to ask this question for a couple weeks now.
Marty was in charge of the game Sunday, so.
Yeah, that was Marty's fault. Absolutely. Yep. It's the last time we listened to Marty in his game plan, right?
Exactly.
42 years coaching at the same college is amazing, yet you continue to bring it every day. What are two pieces of advice that the current Greg Kampe would tell the 29-year-old Greg Kampe?
Well, actually, I was 28, Marty.
That's probably why we lost the game, man.
Yeah. I mean, like I said a few weeks ago, about my ego and that. I mean, when I was 28 years old, it was about me. I was going to build something. I was going to do this. I was going to do that. I'll
Coach UCLA was the line you always used. Yeah.
Right. And I think my career really, the trajectory of my college career or coaching career changed when I decided that the players are the most important thing and not the program. I used to say this is my program and it's going to be run this way, and if you don't like it, get the hell out of here. And we were going to have a culture, and we were going to have, you're going to do it this way. The Sparky Anderson, my way or the highway. And then when I realized that, why are you doing that? Because you want people to think you're a good coach? Or what? No, that my responsibility is the young men that we brought here, and they're all different. They're all from different backgrounds. They're all products of their environment, And it's my job to give them an environment that they can thrive in, and each one of them will be different. And when I finally got to that point in my coaching career, I think that changed the trajectory of my coaching and why I've been able to survive for so long at the same place, because you just don't do this, you know. Mike Leach, I don't know if you know that name, but he was the football coach that passed away, unfortunately, a few years ago. He told me, he said, you know, every year you're at a school that half the people don't want you there anymore. And he goes, you're down to your brother and your sister are probably the only people that want you there.
He's one of the best,
and if
man.
you know him, you could see him say that, right? And you know, it's about those young men. And, you know, so I just think the way you go about and do your business. You know, you heard Jeff up here talk about, you know, finding out everything and being honest and knowing what they are, all right? And then taking care of them when they're here. And I think they play a lot better when you take care of them. And so that changed, you know, 25, 30 years ago, that changed. But hopefully I'm getting better at that every day.
How tough is that to do, Camp? Like when you know.
It was really hard at first. It was really hard because I wanted our fans to think he's a good coach.
Yeah.
And now I really don't give a crap what you think about that. I mean, honestly. Because you're going to think what you think, right? Whether I am or not, whether, you know, what play call we made worked or didn't work. 90% of it, you know, you don't know what's going on. You just see the result of it. And, you know, you see the result of a bad challenge the other day, right? Well, why would I do that, right? And that cost us. It cost us a timeout. Well, I did it because the player told me he didn't touch the ball.
Trust your guys. Yeah.
So I trusted him, and they know that now. And that player knows he better not fib to me again, right? Because it cost us. And, you know, so I just think that once you learn that, and I can't worry what people think. I can't worry, you know, about how we go about things. We just got to be consistent, and we got to do what's best for our players. And if we do that and we recruit, you know, Jeff's brought a lot of really good players here. You've seen a lot of great players play at Oakland. You bring players like that in, you're going to win a lot of games. And I will tell you this, we haven't put this out yet because we haven't won since it happened, but we won our 10th conference game 3 weeks ago, right? Because we've lost 3 in a row. But when we won our 10th conference game, that was the 18th time in the last 20 years that Oakland's won 10 or more conference games. All right.
Yeah.
If you take the last 20 years in the state of Michigan, and you'll see this eventually, we'll get this out there because when recruiting season gets here, we're going to make it as public as we can. Michigan State is second at 17. I think Michigan was 13. The Central, Western, Eastern, and they were all like 7, 8, 9, 4. In the last 20 years, 10 win seasons. And we also are going the league record. And at the point that, 3 games ago, when we put it all together, we're not going to put that out until the season's over and Michigan State is 66% winning. We were 65.5% in league play. And I think Michigan was 60% or 59%, and then nobody else was even above 50% if you look at Western, Eastern, Central, and Detroit. And so the consistency of our winning, I think, is because I got a great staff that brings in great players, and then we go about it letting them, this change of 30 years ago where it's all about them. I think that's our success.
Camp, I've been here since 2010, working for the pro. We've never had a bad season. You know what I'm saying?
Well, in our mind, we've had bad seasons.
For our standards,
right.
we have. But you know what I mean?
Right.
Michigan, this behemoth that Michigan is, they had a 3-win Big Ten season not too long ago, which is why they got a new coach and did all that.
Which we don't want that.
Right. Right, absolutely. But that's my point, though. I mean, it is, when you take a step back and you look at what this program has done, and this is something, when I talk to people about Oakland basketball that I don't think a lot of people understand. we don't have bad seasons. What some fan bases would coin bad seasons. I mean, they can be, not what the standard is here, but you get what I'm trying to say here, man. Like, we don't have bad seasons. It's wild. More with the hashtag #AskCampy. James in the YouTube chat. Camp, do you have any at-home rituals to unwind after a loss?
Unwind after a loss?
Yes.
Oh, boy. No, I'm not a good loser. Sorry. I'm a really bad loser. No, people don't know that because I'm pretty much by myself. I don't go out. Even after wins, I don't go. I mean, I'm by myself. And basically, what most 90% of coaches do. I'm not a guy that drinks. I'm not a guy that goes to the bar and things like that. And I know there are people that like to do that to unwind. I'm not criticizing them. I'm just saying that's just not me. I'm just by myself, and I've got 2 dogs laying on me watching the game, watching film, and that's all I do. I watch the film. I go home. I watch the film, and then in the league play. So let's say Friday night, everybody in the league plays, right? So when I get home, I watch Oakland, Green Bay, and then I watch Milwaukee and Detroit, and then I watch the end of any game that was close, and making notes to, like say Robert Morris beats whoever they're playing in the last second, and whatever they did to do that, I'll draw that play up and have that in a folder at my house. That this is what they did with 1 minute to go. Now, a lot of that doesn't really matter because we play zone and nobody else really does except Northern Kentucky. But I'll watch whoever we're getting ready to play. I'll watch their game that night, and then I'll go back and I'll get to their game against Northern Kentucky. And then I'll fall asleep, and then I'll wake up, and then I'll take the dogs out, as Smitty said. The dogs keep you up at night. And then I'll go back to last night I got a text from Smitty at 10:36, and I answered it at 2:25 probably because around 11 o'clock I fell asleep watching film. And I woke up with the computer on my lap or on my chest, and it was 2-something. And then I looked at my phone, and oh, shit, Smitty. And I answered it, knowing that he probably saw it at 2:15.
Yeah.
And his wife, why is he texting you at 2:15? Probably.
One last one here on YouTube. Gene in the YouTube chat. Will Mike Helms get a banner now that he has graduated?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think there's a chance that could happen for sure. He's the first All-American and the first Division I All-American in Oakland history, which is, we try and put the first people, the first pro, the first this, the first that, the great players, So I do think that probably should happen and probably will happen. It's just a matter of, it's not going to happen this year, and that's something that will be looked at in the off season as we, get the rituals for next year. But yeah, now that he's got his degree, I think part of the reason he got his degree is to get it up there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 34 or 5 years old, so I was the happiest guy in the world when he got it, man. I got a picture with him in his outfit. So,
one last one here on Twitter comes from David Stockman. Hashtag #AskCampy. Coach, Oakland Hoops is a must-watch in our house. Let the floor breathe and unleash the snipers. Not many teams have kids hitting 90% from the volleyball line. Winners win, no matter the size. Hashtag Jaeger bombs. Hashtag Nouvelle Ball.
Yeah. Was there a question there?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's just a statement. David, I'm gonna use that next time MJ hits a 3. I'm gonna use that. I'm not gonna give you credit, David. I'm gonna take the credit for it. So that's how this works, everybody. So all right, let's do this. Let's take the last break. When we come back, we'll take a look ahead to the weekend. This is the Greg Kampe Show live at Patti Finnegan's on the campus of Oakland University.
In every moment, in every shared smile, OU Credit Union Visa Signature Card is there, earning 3% cash back on groceries to stock their dorm room, 2% back on fueling up the tank for the journey ahead. With a $100 welcome offer and the first year's annual fee waived, it's more than just a card. It's your partner in making every moment count, even the ones that tug at your heartstrings. Make every moment and every mile more rewarding with an OU Credit Union Visa Signature Card.
Because every athlete deserves to be treated like a pro. Henry Ford Sports Medicine.
Welcome back to Patti Finnegan's final segment of the Greg Kampe Show. He is Coach Greg Kampe. My name is Neil Rule. Happy you are with us. Big shout out to Bobby Ellman. We're keeping Bobby on his toes back there in the Odyssey 1270 AM studios. Camp Green Bay Friday night, Sunday afternoon. Milwaukee's in town, and obviously Green Bay. We got a win there in Green Bay. That Green Bay team, though, is playing some very, very good basketball right now.
And, I mean, we're sitting in second place. They're a half game behind us. They have one more win than we do, one more loss than we do. So they're a half game behind us. They beat us, and they move into, that first or that second 1, 2, 3 seed we're talking about that everybody's fighting for. So I think we played our most complete game of the year at their place. In when I say complete, we did beat them. It was not easily. You never win easily, but the score was comfortable throughout. And I think that we executed what we wanted to do that day as well as we have in any game this year. The defensive game plan we executed, and we rebounded in that game. We didn't play great defense, and they shoot a bad shot, get the rebound and lay it in, which has happened a little bit Sunday. We executed it, and Baru had his best game of the year against them. He really, took over. And the game before at Milwaukee, Michael had an unbelievable game, and then Baru had one there. And that's when we're good, when somebody's stepping up and, playing above their pay grade and doing that. And it was an outstanding game for us. Let's go back to Sunday. We had an outstanding game against Robert Morris a month ago, and we didn't play. We didn't come back and repeat it. And so we've got to repeat what we did at Green Bay. We've got to guard the way we guarded. We've got to rebound the way we rebounded there. We got to get the ball offensively to the same spots we got it in when we were at Green Bay. And that's college basketball, man. A lot can change.
Camp, obviously there were some headlines like nationally. Doug Gottlieb in his press conference after the Milwaukee game kind of made some headlines. And you brought it up earlier where we talked about the coach at Kansas State. You said he lost his job basically because of a press conference, which is probably accurate. How do you keep the emotion in check? You just went through this war. You come up just short or whatever. How do you keep it together, I guess, in those moments?
Well, if you take 40 years of one of the things we did way back in the day before the media, we actually, even in the Division II days, we had a beat writer from the Oakland Press covered us. So, and we've had some great. Mark Snyder was our beat writer. He went on to the Free Press. Charles Robinson, who's one of the lead writers for Yahoo Sports right now and big NFL guy, he was our beat writer, his first job. Pat Caputo's first job was a beat writer for us. So I've always had press conferences. And back in the day, we would try to raise money. We had what was called the Oakland 100. If you gave $100, which in those days was a lot of money, today it fills your gas tank, we would do the press conference in front of them. And we'd actually let the Oakland 100 people ask questions too, which that was really a treat. Pat Caputo is the only media person that refused to go in, though. He said he thought that we were, trying to make it easy for me by having those people in there. So he would not come in that, and I'd have to do a special one with him afterwards. But so if you look at that, 30 games times 40, whatever, that's a lot of press conferences. So I think you learn your lesson. You just hold back, and what I try and do is I try and be open and honest, and I understand what the media, I have a degree in it. I understand what the media is trying to get done. All right. And so I'm open to what they're getting done, and I try to give them what they want. I try never to be baited into saying something that could come back and get you as a coach. And you have to control your emotions in there. And if you can't, and you can't learn to do that, you're not going to survive in the business. And especially in this day and age where everything you say is being recorded. And so I just think that, some of these people that are new at this, they've got to learn it. And they don't have the luxury that I had of, no social media and all. When I was learning, there was no social media. There was no, I told that story about, the game. Can you imagine in this day and age if I sent the wrong guy to the free throw line? Can you imagine how I'd be villainized?
Oh, my God. It'd be a media storm.
Yeah, there'd still be some people that say, way to go.
Yeah.
But I would be villainized by that. And I joke about it now because that's how I learned,
Well, Camp, and I think, going back to the Youngstown State play that got, millions of views on YouTube when you had the inbounder run down the baseline and they ran over Bader and they had to call the foul and Bader got the free throws and we got into overtime. Like that was my first experience here working here where you see a tsunami of media attention come over something. I mean, it was in every blog, every magazine, everything, and there was a segment of people that said that's a dirty play by Kampe and that's a dirty play by Oakland, and that opened my eyes to say, wow, this can be global at times, man, global.
So it's crazy. Michigan State tried to run that play the other night. Did you? I don't know if you saw their game.
I did not.
So at the end of their game, they were down with 1 second to go, and they tried to run the play. And my phone lit up, and it was Travis Bader, who made both free throws, and we won.
Yeah.
And then Bobby Bieski, who played on the women's team, we won twice with that. Once Bader, and we beat Youngstown. Was it Bader that beat Youngstown?
Yes. Yep.
We beat Oral Roberts. Kangas did it. Mm-hmm. 5 or 8 years before Bader did it. It worked against Oral Roberts. And it might have won us a league championship. It was huge. And she texted, did you see that they tried to run your play? My phone is lighting up. That's how big you're talking about. Exactly right. I mean, Travis is assistant coach of the Brooklyn Nets now, and he texted me as soon as it happened. He said it. And I text back, I said, that guy didn't fall down and grab him like you did. And he said, right. He goes, you got to know how to do that, man.
Absolutely.
We actually practiced it, though.
Yeah.
But don't tell anybody I said that.
Yeah. Well, I hope you weren't planning on using it this weekend. I'm sorry if I brought it.
I think that play's run its course. Obviously, Michigan State tried it and it didn't work.
All right, Camp. Got about 10 more seconds. Got anything for this weekend?
Hang with us. This story's not written. I like, Smitty, what he said about those kids. I wish we were tougher. I wish we rebounded better. I wish we were more physical. But that's on me to get them to do those things. They're a great group of kids, and they deserve to win. They work their butts off, and they deserve to win. And when you have a team that deserves it, a lot of times you get it.
All right, shout out Bobby Ellman back in the Odyssey Studios. That will do it. We'll see you all Friday night at the Arena. This has been the Greg Kampe Show live at Patti Finnegan's on the campus of Oakland University. Well, see you later.